Turn on your mics. Get your mic. This meeting is called to order. We will stand to do our invocation. Heavenly Father, we welcome you into this place. We come before you today to lift up our city to you. Thank you for the place we call home, for the people and for the opportunities that surround us. Lord, we pray for your presence to dwell here. Bring peace, justice, and harmony to every corner of our city. Bless our leaders with wisdom and integrity as they make decisions that impact all who live here. Guide their hearts and minds toward what is right and just. Protect those who serve, including our first responders, educators, and caregivers. Give them strength and courage to fulfill their calling. We ask for your provision for the most vulnerable among us, the homeless, the sick, the lonely, and the struggling. Surround them with your love and inspire our hearts to reach out with compassion and generosity. Let this city be a beacon of light and hope, a place where kindness flourishes, families thrive, and neighborhoods come together in unity. Bring renewal to the broken areas and healing to the wounds that divide. Above all, Lord, may your will be done here, and may your name be glorified through the lives who lead. We trust you to do more than we could ever imagine for our city and its people, and it's in your name that we pray. Let every heart say amen. Amen. Now we will have Chief Heidler to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and while he comes, Chief Heidler has over 40 years of experience in the law enforcement. He's been a military police in the Army and a South Carolina National Guardsman. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, yes. Council and community, as many of you are already aware, our nation recently suffered the loss of our former President Carter, whose unwavering dedication to peace and humanitarian work touched countless lives around the world. Close to home, our community has also lost a great monument. We are mourning the loss of former Councilwoman Patricia Gibson High Moore, whose selfless service and passion for her community transformed Florence. Pat's commitment to advocating for the most vulnerable among us, whether youth, seniors, or the homeless, was truly remarkable, leaving a lasting imprint on our city. Both leaders embody compassion, integrity, and a tireless drive to make the world a better place. And their contributions will forever inspire us. Additionally, we cannot overlook the devastation caused by the recent wildfires in California, which continues to destroy communities, displace families, and leave countless individuals in need of support and recovery. Our thoughts and prayers remain with them as they navigate through this difficult time. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor the lives and legacy of the former Councilwoman Pat Gibson High Moore and the former President Jimmy Carter, as well as the lives of those affected by the devastating fire. Thank you. Council, if you don't mind, the resolution for resolution number 2025-01 and resolution number 2025-02, I would like to move that up so that, because we've got many that are here, we will go on and move that up right behind service and recognitions if there's not any opposition.
No objections. No objections.
Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes have been approved. Now we will go to honors and recognitions. Service recognition, David Weatherly of 10 years with the fire. David. And right after him, it will be Thomas Blackman, 10 years of fire.
David Weatherly joined the fire department in January of 2015 after graduating from the South Carolina Fire Academy recruit program. His first assignment was at Station 3, which is on Edison Drive, Shift 3. Promoted to driver in 2018, he was assigned to Ladder 114 at Station 1, which is the Palmetto Street downtown station. In 2021, David achieved the rank of captain, and he currently serves with Engine 121, which is out on the north side here, at Station 2. With extensive training including National Hazmat Technician Specialty Program, David serves as a member of the South Carolina Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 1, which is out of Columbia. Passionate about engine company operations and community engagement, he upholds a citizens-first mindset and leads by setting a strong example for his peers. We congratulate Captain Weatherly for his 10 years of service.
Captain, would you like to say anything?
Thank y'all for everything. It's a great place to work. Great city.
Thank you.
You get to ask a question. My three little grandsons are dying to go see what your station looks like. Are we allowed to bring them up there?
Anytime you want to. Just stop by.
You said it.
All right. Captain Thomas Blackman. Thomas Blackman joined the city Florence Fire Department in January 5th, 2015, as he graduated from our internal recruit school in May of that year. His first assignment was Engine 141, which is on the west side of town. He promoted to captain in May of 2018. He is now assigned to the downtown station on Ladder 114 as a captain. A two-time recipient of life-saving awards, Thomas is highly trained and deeply passionate about search and rescue, dedicated to providing the best survival opportunities for citizens. Known for his entire leadership style, he takes responsibility for challenges while giving full credit to his crews for success. So we congratulate him on his 10 years of service.
Mr. Blackman, would you like to say anything?
Thank you.
Next, we will move to our resolution. Next on the agenda is the resolution number 2025-01. It's a resolution to name South Park to Jabali Park.
Madam Mayor, I think it's most appropriate that I recuse myself from this vote.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, they just kicked you out. Okay. Is there a motion?
Yep, so move.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Jerry?
Sure, I'll proceed with reading the resolution. Resolution number 2025-01, a resolution to rename South Park to Jabali Park. Whereas John and Sylvia Jabali were esteemed members of the Florence community, having relocated from New York to Florence in 1963 as part of John's work with Wentworth Manufacturing Company, and whereas John and Sylvia Jabali were deeply involved in the Florence community, contributing to the St. Anthony Catholic Church, the Florence Little Theater, and numerous civic, church, and arts organizations. And whereas South Park is a 3.9-acre public green space located in the Tarleton Estates neighborhood, and whereas in the early 1970s, John and Sylvia led a grassroots neighborhood fundraising effort to prevent high-density development on the site of South Park, contributing significantly to the purchase price of the property, which was later acquired by the city of Florence to create the park. And whereas the Jabali's family home, previously located adjacent to the park, was donated to the city and incorporated into the park, enriching the cherished community's green space. And whereas renaming South Park to Jabali Park will honor the legacy of John and Sylvia Jabali, who exemplified community leadership, dedication, and generosity. Now therefore be it resolved hereby the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina, that South Park shall be renamed Jabali Park in recognition of the remarkable contributions of John and Sylvia Jabali to the City of Florence. And it is resolved this 13th day of January, 2025.
All right. So yeah, we have to vote on that. So a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? The ayes have it. Jabali family? Council, you all can stand behind us.
Fellas, anyway. The lady to do, she gotta stand between these.
I'll get behind George.
I wanted to.
It's so many of you, only one can speak.
Madam Mayor, members of council, relatives, friends, and members of the Florence community. I'm here today on behalf of the whole Jabali family to say thank you so much for renaming this park Jabali Park. If I may, I want to say a couple of words about my mother and father. They were ordinary people, nothing special. But they believed in this community. They believed in giving back. They believed in leaving Florence a better place than that they found it. They believed in greeting their neighbors with goodwill. If I can leave you with just one thought, it's that there is no one so poor that he doesn't have goodwill inside of him. Smile at your neighbor in the grocery store. Smile at the officer at the door. Smile when you speak to the members of council. This is important. Amen.
Next on the agenda, we have resolution number 2025-02. This is a resolution to rename Northwest Park to Mordecai C. Johnson Park. What
Point
say
of
you?
information, Mayor. Scotty, I have a question. How did this get on the agenda when it was deferred by the Planning Commission? I have the minutes from the Planning Commission, and it stated that Ms. Jean Zollicoffer, who lived in the Northwest community, spoke against naming of the park. Mr. Johnson
Excuse me,
saying that it should be.
excuse me, point of order, I believe the first point of business is there needs to be a motion. Is that correct?
Okay.
Well, I move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay. So, saying that it should be named for a person who actually done something in the Northwest community, she proposed waiting for the neighborhood association to meet to decide which person to honor. Ms. D said that the neighborhood association president, as the neighborhood association president, she wanted to delay making any decisions until the association met. Mr. Keith asked who recommended this name. Mr. Dudley said it was a member of City Council. Dr. Lawhorn asked if that member lived in the area. The answer was no. Ms. Zollicoffer spoke again, said that Mr. Johnson was not from the area and that they wanted people to be able to relate to the activities at the park and honor the people who actually worked to make it is what it is, and she liked to have them to be living. Mr. Dudley said that one requirement for naming facilities or parks was that the person had been deceased. They then inquired about the Pearl Moore Center that was named, and she's still alive. So there was no one else to speak either for or against the request. They closed the public hearing and called for a discussion or motion. Ms. Dees moved to defer the request for 30 days to give the residents time to discuss their options. Ms. Gregg seconded, and the motion passed unanimously 8-0. Now, I know that the Northwest community wanted to meet with their members and participate, as any normal prudent person would, to have input and participate in the naming of that park. No one came to the association to really let them know that it was going to be named named for that. I know that the Northwest president called me to ask me if I knew anything because, again, they said it was a member of City Council, which I told her I did not know, and being that it was in my district, I found it strange not to know that it was going on. So, of course, you know about the meeting that they had on December the 30th, and the residents felt like they had a call meeting to participate and be involved in the process, because we know Dr. Iola Jones Park was named after Iola Jones, and she lived in that area across the street and did a lot for that area, along with Dr. Levy in East Florence, lived right there, did a lot for the community. So they were more concerned and wanted to have input in what the park's name was, because nobody understood where that name came from and to be called that. So there was no information, of course, at the Planning Commission, and everybody wanted to be there, give their input. So it was obviously deferred, and they felt like being stronger together was a two-way street, and they felt like they wanted to be included into that. They didn't protest. Did they protest anything? that you know of, Scotty? The name?
Okay, there's a lot of questions there.
Well, I only have one. And then, do you know of anybody objecting to the name?
Okay, let me start in how this came about. This was brought by Madam Mayor to staff. We did research on that. Madam Mayor asked us to present that to Planning Commission there. Mr. Dudley, our planning director, presented the information, and you read the minutes there. It was deferred. There was a call meeting. I attended the meeting. Madam Mayor attended the meeting, and there's a lot of discussion about the process itself and how it's named, and if we name things for people who are living, the naming facilities for those living, that's an internal policy. That's not a council policy. That's not an ordinance or anything. That has been staff's position, and I continue to maintain that position as well, and staff stated that at the meeting there. On November or December 30th, there's a lot of discussion about names. There are names presented there, and I explained how the process works, that the Planning Commission is an advisory board to council, and that generally speaking, the community will have council members to address any issues that they have there, that council still had their discretion to move forward with that. And it was the position that council would move forward today, in that understanding that it was deferred there at the meeting at the Planning Commission. But the Planning Commission is an advisory body to council.
So is it normal procedure for us to just bypass the advisory committee, even if they did a deferment, for us just to go ahead and do a resolution on it? And the consensus I got from the community was that they wasn't opposed, they just didn't feel included in the process.
Right.
They didn't feel like, no one from the area knew Mr. Mordecai Johnson or knew how he contributed to the park for it to be named after him.
Madam Mayor, at this time, given the questions that are being raised about it,
Yes.
I would ask if it would be appropriate for Scotty, if you would read the resolution so we could all know the wonderful contributions that Mordecai Johnson has made to not only to the west part of Florence, but also to all of Florence. And it is, in my opinion, most appropriate that it be named for him and honoring him and his family who's here. And I think, I can't speak for you, Councilwoman, but all the rest of us on council, I certainly are very endorsing this. And please, Mr. City Manager, if you would read that resolution.
And before you do that, let me just say that
Excuse
no
me,
one is
excuse me,
against
I've
it,
asked.
but we just want
Excuse me,
the
Madam
consent.
Councilwoman, I've
Well,
asked.
I'm the district manager. I
Yeah,
mean, the district representative.
It is
so
my
it's
turn to
okay.
speak,
No,
madam.
no,
It is my turn to speak.
It's okay.
Thank you. If you would please, Mr. City Manager, read the resolution. Thank you.
We good?
Yeah, we good. Go ahead. I'll continue after that.
Okay. A resolution to rename Northwest Park to the Mordecai C. Johnson Park. Whereas Northwest Park is located in historic West Florence community and is a cherished community resource. And whereas Mordecai C. Johnson Sr. was born in Effingham, South Carolina, graduated from Wilson High School at the age of 14 and pursued higher education, earned a Bachelor of Laws from Howard University and a Master of Laws from George Washington University. And whereas Mr. Johnson's remarkable career as an attorney included representing clients in cases ranging from the state of South Carolina to the Supreme Court of the United States. He was the first African-American lawyer in the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and served as an attorney advisor for the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. His dedication to justice was further exemplified through his work with the NAACP and his pro bono contributions to the public good. And whereas in 1967, Mr. Johnson spearheaded a groundbreaking initiative called TEAM, Textiles, Employment, and Advancement for Minorities, which significantly increased employment opportunities for black people in South Carolina's textile industry. And whereas Mr. Johnson made history as the first African American since Reconstruction to serve on the Florence City Council, representing District 1 from 1977 to 1981, and later was the first African American representative in the House of Delegates of the South Carolina Bar for the 12th Judicial Circuit in 1987. And whereas naming Northwest Park in honor of Mordecai C. Johnson will commemorate his legacy and serve as an endearing reminder of his profound contributions to the field of law, education, civil rights, and community service. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina, that Northwest Park shall be renamed to the Mordecai C. Johnson Park in recognition of Mr. Johnson's dedicated service to the community.
Mr. City Manager, is District
Yes,
1, Mr. City Manager, District 1 is the same district that the park is located in, correct?
That is correct.
And that's the same district that Councilwoman LaShonda Neesmith Jackson represents?
That is
Yes.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it is the same.
And so I didn't give you the floor.
I thought I was still on my point of information.
Shaquez,
I am still on my point of
Yeah,
information.
talk to the chair.
it was over here. And yes,
Whether I was still on my point of information.
Shaquez.
All right, I just want to say, as a African American lawyer, it's not many black lawyers in the state. We are a very unrepresented race in the profession, and oftentimes when being a Florence native and hearing of African American lawyers, the lawyer that they always say that each of us have to live up to is Mordecai Johnson. So when his name was mentioned as a candidate for the park, I was 100% on board. I think a couple things that we did miss that I did want to bring up. There's a book called All for Civil Rights, and it's actually it's made out of the Southern Legal Studies. It's a series. It's a pretty thick book, and I actually had a copy of it. I could not find it, so I was literally on here just now purchasing it on Kindle to make sure I get a few of the excerpts off of it. But one thing I think that is mentioned that I did want to bring to you all today is the fact that Mordecai Johnson, he did serve in the Army, and when he got out of the Army, he went to law school, and he was the lead counsel for the NAACP seeking single-member districts in the South Carolina Senate. Although it did not get initially passed by the federal court, at some point they did enact this back in 1983. So again, for District 1, 2, and 3, those are all districts that were not here without his work for being a lead counsel on that. Secondly, they also mentioned he ran for city council in 1970, 1972. He was unsuccessful. However, he did win in 1977, becoming the first black city councilman, and he also was the first black municipal court judge elected in 1990. Did you want to do that?
Very good. Oh yeah.
So again, it's a lot of things that he did. They also mentioned in the book. I couldn't find a direct passage, but I remember reading it. Talked about during the time when he was around, there were when he was fighting for civil rights. It was oftentimes that he would have Thurgood Marshall and them figures of that type that come to the area, and how they had to sneak in to have him with accommodations because of he was viewed as a troublemaker at the time. But nonetheless, Mordecai Johnson, I think, is well deserving of this title because he was the first black councilman in that district, which got the park while he was elected. So I'm almost certain he was very instrumental in getting that park in West Florence, Northwest Florence. So again, I'm in support of Mordecai Johnson. I don't know the backstory of everything, but I am in support of it being named. I think he's a very deserving figure, and again, I will be supporting him today.
So question.
So,
let me ask you a question.
No,
on
I
what you just
I
said.
didn't give you the floor.
Yeah, I know. but-
Shipper Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When I also heard the name as well, I did my research, and I am supportive of it. And the reason why I'm supportive of the name, and again, I don't know the backstory, but I could not sit here as a young black man and represent my constituents if it was not for him. And I have to take that to in a simple fact that he went through some things for most of council to be on here to represent the city of Florence. I didn't know that he did all these other things. I do know about the NAACP because of my former pastor, Pastor Diggs. But I will say I am in support because if it was not for him, I would not be able to be here to represent my Florence community as a longtime and forever citizen of Florence. So I am in support, but I do not know the backstory, but I am in support of naming the park after him.
And so I'd like to say my reasons and my actions and why. I selected Mordecai Johnson because all of you see that he is worthy. He is more than worthy. As I was campaigning, one of the things I heard repeatedly in West Florence was that you don't care about us over here. And so when I saw that the park was not named, I realized there was an identity crisis. They needed a name that they could look up to, that goes beyond just the next door or the next door neighbor. They needed someone that 100 years from now, their children could look up to. So I did contact community leaders. I did not contact the ones you would like me to. But I understand that in order to get stuff done, you cannot go and give it to people that will start fires if you want it to be, you want to get it done. They actually found out about it because I notified some people in the community. And overwhelmingly, Mordecai Johnson's name was. Now, the other thing about planning is an advisory board that we selected. We do not have to take their recommendations because we actually appoint them. We put them on the board and we can remove them off of the board. Also, a person on planning should not take this up and go into the community and stir up confusion. That's not how we do things. We work together, and if we are working around you, it's because you may be a part of the stirring up of trouble. So if we want to work stronger together,
Right.
prove that we will work together without people giving information and you using the information to cause disarray. We as a council are moving forward with this. We don't need planning. We can vote. That's why the people voted us in. We are their voice, not planning. And so I am sorry that the people of West Florence was misled by representation in thinking that we took something from them when we did not. We were trying to add and give something to this community. And I really believe that we are giving something great. We now are ready to work, and not one time did any one of them contact me or the city manager. They went to the community to stir up and say they won't receive the name we select. They're going to pick who they want, not understanding that they were out of order. And leadership should help straighten that out, not add fire to it. You look for us to lead you and to lead you right, not to stir up confusion. And so I'm disappointed at those in the community that will go in the community and use this to cause division. This was something that all of West Florence should be proud of. And like I say with this council, we work with anybody. Our doors are open with anybody, to anybody. But I've got 3 years and 10 months. So confusion, my door is not open to. I plan to get some things done, and that's what I'm going to work on.
And Madam Mayor, you are absolutely right. And
Point of
community
order.
did not.
I call the question.
Yeah, we
I call the
agree on
question.
it. The community didn't go against it. They just wanted
I
to
call
be
the
inclusive.
question.
We are calling for the question. The question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes?
I'm going to oppose just because I don't feel like my community was inclusive. And even when Chiquez said he found out, Chiquez, do you know when you found out? Because I found out when someone called me
okay.
being that it was my district.
Okay,
So that's the
you
reason why
opposed?
I'll have to.
So we have one that has opposed. Now we're going to move on
And
to
not
our
to the
next.
name, but just the process.
This resolution has passed. Family, I am so sorry. Family, I am so sorry that your father's good name, we will still hold it up very high, and we will be very proud of it. So would you please come up to receive this resolution? No. Water contact.
She said family.
Y'all don't know the backstory, but y'all ready to go. That's fine. Democracy, not dictatorship. That's what we on, democracy. And it has to be a democracy at all times. Who I hand this to? So come get right here in the middle.
Probably have a couple of y'all on the other side.
Let's split it up. Let's split it up. Thank y'all so much.
We just need to over here, behind the mic.
All right, let the family say some few things. All of the surveillance are departed. Okay, William.
City Council, Madam Mayor, I want to thank you for this honor for my father. I'm speaking for my family, my sisters, brothers, cousins, friends, my pastor. We are well pleased. One of the things that it's sort of under the cover is that it was under my father's tenure on the city council that the federal grant, the community development grant, was acquired.
Yes.
And the park, the Head Start, a number of things in that community arose out of that grant.
Yes.
So, it's it's kind of hard to say he didn't have anything to do with it. But beyond all of that, my dad was He was a great man, and he touched a lot of lives locally, at the state level, and at the national level. There's no limit to the amount of joy that we get from receiving this honor. Thank you.
Okay, appearances before council on this matter. Dr. Canty, are you, Dr. Canty? Would you care to say something? Huh? Probably so. Just kind of all backwards. Because now Joe wants to say something too. Not Joe.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I rise not to criticize or to sit in judgment, but to commend and to congratulate your leadership, your vision, your boldness, your daring. What a marvelous tribute to three wonderful, outstanding, exemplary families in this community. How marvelous. The balance, the harmony, the forward thrust of this event, the naming of these three parks to three wonderful families, statesmen, servants, humanitarians, social and civic champions, philanthropists, people who worked hard and gave much to make Florence the great place it is. And mark me, Florence will become greater. And the day will come when we will celebrate other leaders. But we will not celebrate those who tacitly sit on the sideline. It will be those who made sacrifices and who struggled to make a difference in this community. I salute the vision. I salute the decision you've made today in honoring my beloved friend, Congressman Ed Young, my beloved pastor and member, Westcott Mordecai Johnson, and my beloved friends, the Jabales. What a great community. We're started, we're headed in the right direction. And if we continue to work together, Florence can be the place that we want it all to be. Very stellar and pinnacle among cities in South Carolina. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, did you want to say something, Ron?
On behalf of Mordecai, I knew Mr. Johnson. I first met him in 1972. That was 53 years ago when he first came to Florence. That's right, I'm old. I knew him as a litigator, a tough litigator. I knew him as a judge, a fair judge. But most importantly, I knew him as a human being. He was a gentleman to his fingertips. He richly deserves the recognition that council has voted him today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One of the things that I think we didn't talk about, some of you may remember, if you were old enough, Mordecai Johnson was arrested while he was on city council. And let me tell you why. He heard that black men were being arrested for walking the streets at night. Mordecai Johnson got out of the bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was arrested, bringing attention to what was happening with black men. I make no apologies at all for my decision. I make no apologies for who I talked to make this decision. I did not. If you were not contacted, it was for a reason. We are moving Florence forward. And my doors are always open. Understand that. But we don't have time for chaos and confusion. We've got a small window of opportunity, and we're going to make the best of it. That's something that I promise you. We're going to make the best of it. Okay? So next on our agenda, yeah, if the families want to leave now, if you want to stay, you're welcome. You're welcome. You all be blessed. Bye-bye. Next on the agenda, we have ordinance and position, bill number 2024-22. This item has been deferred. So we will move to bill number 2024-25. This is a second reading. An ordinance to annex and zone RG-3, the property located in 2502 Alligator Road, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 00125-01-004.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is that 2501 or 2502?
Where are we? Alligator Road, yes, 2501. So it's been properly moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Let the record reflect that bill number 2024-25, second reading, has passed. Now we move to introductions to ordinance. Bill number 2025-01, first reading, an ordinance to annex and zone IL, the property located at 1228 North Casual Drive, identified at Florence County Tax Map number 00122-01-040. So what say you?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor signify. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This particular case regarding an annexation and a zoning is very much related to the next one on the agenda too. The property in question under this one is this property to the left on this map, the lot to be annexed and zoned, and then the property on the right that's shaded in pink, and then this smaller lot in yellow would be the next case. It's already in the city and just needs to be rezoned. But the property on the left needs to be annexed and zoned. And it is located, this particular one for the annexation and zoning is located just north of the New Spring Church along Cashua Drive, North Cashua Drive. It is approximately 44 acres, and the proposed zoning is light industrial. That does, allow uses such as an office park, light industrial uses, but no heavy manufacturing would be allowed in this zoning designation. And this did appear before Planning Commission on December the 10th, and it was voted unanimously 9-0 to recommend the zoning designation of light industrial. And the adjacent zoning inside city limits to the south would be a campus where the church is located. A buffer would be required in this area to buffer that use. And then the property to the right is commercial general, and that is also one of the lots proposed for the rezoning to light industrial. In the county, the adjacent uses that are not inside city limits, it's zoned B3 or general commercial to the north, and then light industrial, you can see in the purple there to the south. And the uses in the general commercial to the north are a mix of industry or light industry as well as commercial uses. And this does conclude staff's report.
Okay. Councilman Chipper Smith?
Mr. Dudley, question for you. I know we can't require it, but has the property owner given us an idea of what they would like to do with this property?
We are not aware at this time. We just understand that it is a light industrial use.
Okay. Council, what say you? Right.
Make a motion to approve.
But I think it's already been moved and seconded.
It's already been moved in second, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Under opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we will have Bill number 2025-02, and it's the first reading. No, I just did that.
No, it's the second one.
Yeah, we're here? Yeah. So it's an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Code of the Ordinance of the City. Oh, I'm doing B. I'm sorry, I'm moving on.
It's a
Bill
two-part.
number, yes, let me check this. I'm kind of got thrown off a little bit. Bill number 02, first reading, an ordinance to rezone from CG to IL, a portion of Florence County Tax Map 00147-01-023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is, as I spoke before, this is a two-parter, and this is the property adjacent that's currently inside the city limits. It currently has two zoning designations. The larger parcel, let me go to the zoning map here. The larger parcel or portion of it, which is about 103 acres, is zoned commercial general, and the smaller portion here that is proposed for annexation, not annexation, rezoning. Let me go back to one map. As you can see it, the green portion there is destination services, which is a commercial use, and that's also proposed for the light industrial zoning. And this is going to be compiled as a large parcel with the previous request for annexation and rezoning for a light industrial use. And Planning Commission did recommend 9-0 unanimously to recommend the designation of light industrial for this use. And it is just north of our sports complex, which includes the tennis center as well as the baseball field and Carolina field.
Okay.
So, Jerry, just to be clear, can we go back to the map, please? Are all of these parcels currently in the city limits?
Under this request, yes, they are. And it's actually one parcel. They were never split out, so it's just the portion here in green here and here. So
Okay,
yes.
you had mentioned annexation. Is this an annexation
This is just rezoning.
of property already in the city?
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry if I confused
Well,
you.
I was just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, the question was asked earlier, did staff know about this project or does staff know about it? Mr. Dudley didn't know about the project, but I do know about the project. I've met with the owners of the project. There is a verbal NDA on it, so I can't discuss the project, but staff is aware of the project.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, all those opposed? The ayes have it. Let the record reflect that it has passed. Okay, now we're at Bill number 2025-03, and it's a first reading. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 and the Code of Ordinance of the City of Florence entitled Building, Construction, and Related Activities to establish Article 15, vacant and abandoned residential, commercial, and industrial business registration. So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is an amendment to our Code of Ordinances, which would add a vacant and abandoned residential, commercial, and industrial building registry. Some of the key aspects of this ordinance is that it will require all vacant and abandoned buildings to register with the city. And within the ordinance, it establishes three different categories in which a property is considered vacant and abandoned, depending upon the levels of essentially code enforcement, in which degree the property is in degradation. It is important to recognize that there are multiple exceptions to this registry. So if the buildings are actively being marketed for sale or lease, they are not required to do this. If they're government-owned buildings, if they are buildings that are being actively pursued for demolition as a remedy to this, to codes enforcement issues, and then also the properties that are vacant and abandoned but fall under that first category where they do not have any codes enforcement issues. They're essentially just vacant and abandoned at the time, and they are not contributing to any blight. The property owners must provide contact information. City staff will perform an inspection to make a determination as to which level the properties are categorized. And then the property owner must also put in place the no trespass placard, so that should anyone trespass or anyone that is not authorized to use that property, we can take action on that. This registry does have an escalating fee associated with it, and then there are also additional fees that include inspection and then delinquency if they do not register the building. We are aware of that situation. City staff did look at multiple different ordinances throughout the state. I know that we looked at Dillon, Walhalla has it, Greenwood. There are multiple other municipalities within South Carolina that have similar like ordinances, and we took portions of the various ones that we felt most applicable to the city of Florence and how we can address our issues. But this is supported by the comprehensive plan and is one that is in direct association with our neighborhood revitalization, as well as the revitalization in multiple of our commercial areas as well. And this concludes staff report.
Okay, Councilman Jabali?
Clint, usually we don't have an ordinance to address a problem unless there's a problem.
That's right, yes.
So while I appreciate you're giving a great description of the ordinance, it would be helpful, I think, if we understood the problem.
Yes,
Can you
so
please give us a little bit of an understanding of this particular problem and how our current ordinances don't already go to address this particular issue?
yes, so and our next ordinance is certainly related to this and in support to allow our staff to take action which to make some determination as the habitability of a residence. But this has been an ongoing issue throughout.
When you say this, what is this?
Vacant and abandoned buildings that
Thank you.
are significantly impacting and causing blight within our areas. This is both within our commercial areas and within our residential areas. All of our plans, be it downtown master plan, comprehensive plan, our neighborhood revitalization strategy, all of these plans speak to using ordinances such as this to address these issues so that we can begin to continue our revitalization efforts.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I want to make a motion, and we discuss this ordinance particularly in executive session for legal advice.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Now we will go to reports to council.
No, I think there's the-
What? Am I leaving out all of them? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, bill number, we're still at the ordinance. Bill number 2025-04, and it's the first reading. It's an ordinance to find certain dwelling exists that are unfit for human habitation due to dilapidation, defects, increasing the hazards of fire, accidents, and other calamities, lack of ventilation, light, or sanitary facilities, or other conditions rendering such dwelling unsafe, unsanitary, or dangerous, and other matters relating thereto, including without limitation. The enforcement of proceedings pertain dwelling deemed unfit.
Move to motion. Second.
It has been moved and properly second. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, you up there.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, we'll just call this
Thank
the unfit dwelling ordinance. I won't repeat the matter in position. What this essentially does is provide the authorization for our building official to make the determination of whether or not a building is habitable, and there's a very simple set of guidelines in which to for our officer to make that determination. That being ingress, egress from the building and bedrooms, fresh water and sanitary waste disposal, electricity, a heat source during October through May during the cold times of the year, a lock for all the exterior doors, and then any habitation violations that are defined within the International Property Maintenance Code. And again, this is to put in place the regulations in which for our officer to make that determination whether or not it is habitable, and then move forward with any code enforcement as needed.
Okay.
Question, Madam Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any type of appeal process, Clint?
Yes. So anything that we of course do has an appeal process. This will have essentially they could have two steps as far as any appeal, same as the previous ordinance, which is first they can appeal to our staff. If they do not like that decision, they can then actually three appeal steps. If they do not like it, they can then appeal to our Construction Maintenance Board of Adjustment and Appeals. I believe that's right. And then lastly, if they do not like that board's decision, they can appeal to circuit court.
Or they could rehabilitate
Yes,
and
certainly.
get in compliance.
That's right.
Okay.
And just
Yeah.
to be clear, this works in conjunction with the other one to further enhance our ability to get these dilapidated buildings, either have the owners either do something or allow the city the opportunity for the city to do something.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's it?
Madam, I would like to say something, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I want to thank staff for this because there is a growing problem in a lot of our target areas, and I think this would help address the issues in our target areas. So thank y'all very much for ensuring that we have at least control of what's going on in our city. Thank y'all.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, next we will have reports to council. Resolution number 2025-03. This will be discussion, executive session. Now we will have reports to council.
Madam Mayor, we'll have the appointments to boards and commissions in executive session as well.
Okay.
That pleases
Okay, thank
council.
you. Now we city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to just briefly thank staff and the council for the budget retreat. I think it was well received. I appreciate all the efforts and hard work that was put in by staff. Certainly thank you for your attention to detail and your leadership. Also, as mentioned earlier previously about the dilapidated buildings, certainly that comes with the cost. So since we've made first reading, I assume it will pass second reading. That will have a budgetary impact, and we'll see that in the coming months when we present a budget to council.
Is there anything left from what we've done with the other motion to demolish?
Yes, we do have funds that are available. Initially, council set aside some funding for demolition. We're using those funds on voluntary. We found that there are a number of involuntaries. This will allow us to proceed with those who don't want those homes knocked down, that should be knocked down. And these are the worst of the worst. It's not a house that, a window is out here or there. It's the houses where a tree is growing literally through the house, those things that are affecting health and safety and causing blight in our neighborhoods there. Oftentimes we have owners who don't necessarily live in Florence there, and we're trying to get those houses knocked down. Currently, again, as mentioned, staff or council set aside monies. We'll have a lien on a house. We'll knock a house down if they allow us, if the owner allows us to. We'll put that lien on there for 5 years there, and it's only the cost that we incur on that. That is a forgivable lien. If they redevelop that property, that lien will be removed on that. And we do have some income guidelines on there that we don't have to lien the property if they're under a certain income limit there. But we haven't been as successful as we like because of the number of vacant and dilapidated houses in all parts of Florence, particularly concentrated in certain areas, north, northwest, and east Florence. But we do see them throughout the city there. And these, again, are homes that no longer can be lived in. They are falling down. They are hazardous to our fire and police, particularly when we found people, particularly when it gets cold, starting fires in there, sometimes losing their lives in houses that are literally falling down. And these are the properties we're trying to remove from our community, but it will have a cost.
Thank you. Thank you, Scotty. Now we will have the mayoral report. I want to say, again, thank you to staff and council for a great budget and retreat that we did. It was really great ideas. We are moving in the right direction, and I'm really excited about the work that we are producing. I also want to introduce Fireside Chat with the Mayor. This is a effort that we will do going around to the parks. You join us for an open house to learn more about our community centers and hear and share ideas to improve our neighborhoods. Dinner will be provided, so come out with a good appetite, and because we will have good food. And this will be 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. The first one at Northwest Community will be January the 27th on 801 Clement Street. All are invited because we truly are stronger together, and we will work to make our Florence a great place. That's it for my mayoral report. Now we will go to committee reports, and we will start with our business committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Business Development Committee met on Thursday, December the 19th, and we had a wonderful presentation that was given to us by AECom, our long-awaited, long-anticipated Stormwater Master Plan for the City of Florence. I'm holding it up in my hand. This was a great thing that we finally, was it 3 years, Scotty? It's taken 3 years of effort to put this plan together. This is the executive summary that was presented to us by AECom, presented by Porter Rivers, Michael Henry, and Brandon Bitchler. Am I pronouncing that name correctly? Yes. So, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So these three gentlemen came and did a great presentation to us. I think we're going to have the full presentation given to council at our February meeting. Yeah, we'll have a full presentation at next month's meeting. But just to touch on quickly, they called this a Stormwater Master Plan, SWMP. I think the only letter missing to identify this community we live in is the A for swamp. They've somehow, I would think they could have figured out a way to throw an A in there somehow, and it could be the swamp report. But at any rate, it's a SWMP report, which is Stormwater Infrastructure Design, Ecological Restoration, National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System for Stormwater Compliance. They gave us the overview of the 3-year effort of looking at our stormwater in all parts of the city because we have had an increase in these major rain events, as we know, going back to 2016 with Hurricane Matthew and the massive flooding that we had throughout our whole city with that. But when you build a city in a swamp, this is what you get. But it was an assessment of conditions. It involved public engagement, facility inventory and mapping, as well as hydrologic and hydraulic analysis, master plan development, and most significantly, an implementation plan. So you plan, you work, and you work, you plan. So this is the plan, and they've given us action items. And as I recall, Mr. Hemingway, is there 51 projects on this master plan list that would total about $72 million. Scotty, have you got an extra $72 million in the budget?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Well, we have $72 million worth of unbudgeted items to address, and we are past Santa Claus time, so I guess well, maybe Councilman Braddock can find some of this funding for us in Washington.
We'll see what can happen.
That would be very helpful. That would be helpful. So it was a robust conversation that we had. Obviously, the needs are great. The amount of money is limited, but we now at least have identification of what the problem areas are and what we need to do. And if you look at the map, it's literally all over the whole city. There's no parts of the city that is left undone in terms of where the needs are. One positive about the process is through the effort of going through and doing in their analysis, they were able to identify so many pipes. And please, y'all, don't throw your trash into these storm pipes, because all it does is block them up and it creates flooding. Don't put your toys in it, the balls that they found. Don't put bricks in there. Just leave the pipes open as they're meant to be, because how many tons of trash did they pull out? Over 40 tons of trash. Get that, listen to that. 40 tons of trash were pulled out of these pipes. And thankfully, as a result of it, the pipes are running a little bit cleaner now, but there's still much work to be done. And that was, our committee meeting was focused on that. So that's the committee report, unless anybody has something to add. That's the report from the business development. Okay.
Thank you, George. Our next committee was community redevelopment, and I chair the community redevelopment with Chipper Smith and Councilman McCall. Our next meeting will be January the 29th. We were on break for the holidays. George didn't take a break, but we took a break. But our next meeting will be January the 29th at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock sharply. That concludes my report. Next, we have the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I chair that committee along with Brian Braddock and Councilman Smith. We were supposed to meet on Christmas Day, but nobody's working on Christmas Day but George, apparently. But we did discuss at the budget retreat a lot of financial things, so we thought that would suffice for that meeting. But our next meeting again is on January 29th at 4 o'clock, and we look forward to getting city business done on that day. And that would conclude our report. That would conclude the Finance Committee's report.
Okay, now we will go to executive session for discussion regarding the economic development project. B, for the discussion regarding appointments to boards and commission. And C, for the discussion of personnel matters regarding city manager's contract. Do I have a motion?
Also A.
And also A for the ordinance of the annex and zone from IL property located on 1228 North Cashua. Okay, and then he gave me the wrong one.
So moved.
Then he gave me the wrong one. But what we said, with if bill number 2025-03, first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Let's go into executive session. Let's do 5 minutes for a 5-minute break.